I'm going to tell you the number one tip on how to change your life as fast as possible. And it's very simple. And I'm going to start off with a quick story. So back when I was a kid, right? Back when I was 16, 15, I lived in I want to say like a very like abusive household. A lot of verbal, physical abuse, all that good stuff. We're all over that stuff. I went to therapy. It's done, right? But just give you an idea. That's exactly what was going on. It was terrible. I hated it. Like I didn't know what to do. Plus, I was younger. I couldn't even get a job. I was like 15, right? So as time progressed, right, and I'm gonna tell you exactly how I learned this too. And it wasn't just like watching a self improvement video. I'm like, yeah, that's true. No, bro. Like, so right when I turned, I want to say 17, 18, I left school, graduated, whatever, and I got a job. I started working at a like fast food spot, and I was like, okay, whatever. My first job. Hopefully, I like it. Whatever, right? So I start working there, and they gave me a lot of opportunity to do overtime. And I remember I hated it because they would make me work like Monday to Friday, and then I would have to be home over the weekend, and that's when like it was worse at my house. So I thought to myself, dude, like I just have to switch my schedule or work more, right? So as I progressed, right, I was naturally better at my job. I would say it was very simple. I was making sandwiches, bro. Like it can't get any easier than that, right? So I went ahead and decided, you know what? Let me see if they give me like more opportunities to work more. So I asked, hey, cool, like, can I start working a little bit more? And they're like, yeah, of course, we'll hit you up overtime, blah, blah. And there's a bunch of overtime, bro. I was working like 50 to 70-hour weeks, making like $8 an hour. This is all the way back in like 2020, 2019, around there. And I realized, dude, honestly, I was tired as hell. Like, I would not get any sleep. I was dead, super dead. But I felt happier because I wasn't in that environment. Like, I would only be there to sleep and then show up the next day at 6 a.m. to go work. So I was like, okay, like, this is my escape. So as time progressed, I ended up leaving that job, got another job, whatever, blah, blah, blah. By the way, don't ever work at like FedEx, UPS, whatever, throwing boxes, bro. Terrible idea. Don't ever do that. So after that, it's now maybe 2022, 2023. Had a family situation, ended up moving to my friend's house, and the environment was better. I had a good time. Loved it. My best friend, pretty much, and his family, and it was good. I stayed there for another like year, 2 years, and dude, I liked it. Right. Long story short, that time came to an end, and then I end up having to figure out like where am I gonna live? Where am I going to live? And I had the option, cool, go back home. Screw that, because I already knew my mental health was going to be cooked. I already knew I was going to be done if I went back home. So I ended up picking up two jobs. I was working 80-hour weeks so I can actually get my own apartment. And this is now back, dude, this is like 2 years ago now, right? 2024. And I realized that I could never in my whole entire life go back to that same environment because I already knew how terrible it was. And that's what I want to tell you today. If your environment is so bad, sacrifice your time, sacrifice something so you can get out of there. A lot of the time, your environment is what actually causes you to be the way that you are. So, like, if you're very shy, if you're very scared, if you're very, what else is a good thing? And anything that's negative can just be brought up by you being pretty much either mistreated by your parents. And again, obviously they live here, they're living for the first time just like you. But just realize that like all this comes from all the different things that you experience as a kid. Everything comes from you being a child. Once I put that together, right, and I went to therapy. I went to therapy for like a whole year. Like throughout that time that I was like working two jobs, I realized like it really was just my environment. Like as long as you get out of that environment, as long as you get out of something that's negative, or even just removing negative people out of your life is going to completely change. And it's very, very simple to say that, but it's hard to actually take the action towards it because you love these people. I'm not even like to you grew up with them, you love them. They might be your friends, it might be your family, but sometimes you can actually create a better relationship with them when you're not there. And that's kind of what happened with me, right? And kind of to dig deep a little bit, it was sort of like that with my parents. I ended up leaving. I have a little bit better of a relationship now, like awesome in my opinion. But that's because I have my own space. I live by myself, and I don't have to worry about them being in my ear all day. You know what I mean? Having that same dynamic over and over again. So if you're experiencing that right now in your life, make the effort to do it. Like if you're 18 plus, there shouldn't really be an excuse right now of you not busting your butt to get out of there completely. I understand the economy's bad. A lot of things are not the best right now, right? But dude, pick up 2 jobs, or even just work full time, work part time, save up some money, and just leave. It's really that simple. And that's something that taught me even a lot. And the best thing about actually changing your environment as well is if you're actually going to move in by yourself or maybe just with a roommate or something, you learn responsibility. Because when you're probably living with your parents or wherever you're at, you weren't probably paying any bills. Maybe you paid like the light bill, paid $100 a month or something like that, because you were working part-time at like a Marshall's or something. But you actually learn the responsibility of like, cool, if I don't pay this, I'm cooked. Like if I don't pay rent this month, I'm done. And it teaches you a lot. It teaches you to actually jump up and grow up. And that's kind of what happened with me. I used to be addicted to video games. So my escape, because I was strapped in this environment, is and before I got the job, like I told you, I would literally sit down and play video games for 8 to 12 hours a day. Like I would get out of school and just play for the rest of the night. So I would have to avoid everybody. If I had to eat, I would just eat super late at night when no one's there. If I had to go, let's say, get ready for school or something, I also got up super early so I wouldn't have to interact with anybody at all. Because I knew how terrible it was for like my mental health, right? But I just want you to know that your life could change so fast if you just change your environment. There's going to be a lot of responsibilities that come with it, but just do it. Just take action and actually do it, because once you change just your environment alone, you can actually develop as a person. And don't be scared. You're probably scared, like, cool, man, like, you said you've done it, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's really not that easy. And it's not that easy, but it's the intention that you make towards it. You know how stressed I was, like, trying to find an apartment for the first time? Like, I was like, oh, I have to do cheap. I have to do this. I have to do this because I'm working so much, blah, blah, right? It got to a point where I realized, cool, like, whatever the best option is for me, and as long as I had a washer and dryer, I was cooling, bro. As long as I had some decent space and a washer and dryer. Like, my first ever apartment was, I think, 500 square feet. And that was it. It was a 1 bed, 1 bath, washer, dryer. That's all I needed, bro. And I was just eating eggs and turkey bacon every day, and maybe eating like free food I got from the job I was in at that time. Because that's how, literally, bro, it was literally, I was making enough money to just pay rent at one point, right? Like 80 hours, like working 80 hours a week. Don't get me wrong. You know how much money you actually make doing that? Like on average, if you, let's say, get 2 jobs that pay like 15 an hour, you make, dude, upwards of like maybe high 3K, 4K a month. Sure, you're working 80 hours a week, so you're not gonna have any time, but you at least have some comfort of, all right, I know my bills are paid by me just working for 2 weeks. Yeah, I just wanted to hop on, make this video, let you guys know that right now, if you're stuck, right now, if you don't really know what to do, if you're just having a bad situation at home or anything like that, just change your environment. Especially if you're 18 plus already. Like if you're younger, dude, if you're 15, 16, 14, whatever, just either, honestly, you can get a job at 16 now, bro. Go work at Publix or something, like, or do something that's gonna distract you, that's positive. Don't like just do video games. I did video games for so long, and dude, honestly, I gained a bunch of weight. I was just unhappy. Like I was just, dude, me and my PlayStation were like this. You know what I mean? And it got to a point where it wasn't like healthy. You know what I mean? Because mentally, all that energy that I had of my bad experience, like I just threw it all onto the video games, because that was like my saving grace at that time. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. And again, just change your environment, and I'm telling you, your life is gonna get better.